So I don't know if you had a similar experience to me growing up, but I would always tune into ESPN and watch either Mel Kiper or Todd McShay drop their NFL draft content, or at least listen to them throughout NFL draft streams. And Mel Kiper of ESPN dropped his 2025 two-round mock draft, and today I want to react to it. So this is going to be his final mock two of the draft, and let's see what we have going for us here today. Wow, an absolute shocker. Number one overall, Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans. I'm just kidding. It does start to feel like the first, second, and third picks are going to be Cam Ward to Tennessee, Travis Hunter to Cleveland, and then also Abdul Carter to the New York Giants. At least that's what Adam Schefter of also ESPN has been kind of hinting at over these last few days, unless something drastic changes. I do feel like some of these teams at the top, particularly Cleveland and New York, have been kind of off Shedeur Sanders. I think maybe Cleveland is hoping they can get Shedeur in a trade up with their round 2 pick. It does feel like the Giants may still draft a quarterback later in the draft, but they're fine with Jameis and Russ going into the year. So where's Shedeur Sanders going to go? We'll see. So Cam Ward goes number 1 to Tennessee. I think it at least gives them some hope going into next year and in the long term. We'll see if they're able to maybe draft a receiver. I think they're a team unlike Cleveland or New York or some of these teams that would draft a quarterback. They don't really have to address offensive line that much. They've invested into that position over the last few drafts with Peter Skoronski in 2023 and J.C. Latham in 2024 with some high round picks as well. So I do think Cam Ward is going to have a good enough O-line that he'll be inheriting in Tennessee. He gets an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Callahan. I would like to see them add another pass catcher on day 2 to allow Cam Ward just to get another weapon out there in Tennessee. But I do like Tennessee taking Cam Ward number 1. I thought it'd be kind of silly if they traded out. They need a quarterback. Take a quarterback. It's not like it's like a Carson Wentz situation or Robert Griffin situation. You need somebody on your team right now. So number 2, Cleveland takes Travis Hunter out of Colorado. A fascinating prospect for so many reasons. The fact that he can play 2 positions. We'll see if he's going to start out at a receiver or as a corner for the Cleveland Browns. But I do feel like Cleveland, from what I've been hearing or just reading, they do like him as a receiver a little bit more. And you'd have him, Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. Like, you'd have some pass catchers. Who's playing quarterback for this team? Like I said, I'm sure they would love to see Shedeur fall to Minnesota. They trade up with Minnesota. Bang. Shedeur Sanders is throwing to Travis Hunter in Cleveland. But if this happens, maybe they like Jalen Milroe later in the draft or Jackson Dart. Is Kenny Pickett going to be your starting quarterback next year? Deshaun Watson probably isn't playing for this team again. Are they going to end up with Kirk Cousins if he ends up getting traded or cut? Those are all possibilities. At number 3, the Giants take Abdul Carter. So like I said, going into this, that felt like that was going to be the top 3. I think the Giants are just taking Carter based off best player available, and that's what you should do in the top 5 and not based on need, because they don't really need Abdul Carter. You got Brian Burns, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Dexter Lawrence. The defensive line is kind of like their strongest unit right now, and I don't think at number 3, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to take Shedeur Sanders. I feel like we'd know about that a little bit more, but maybe they don't want to tip their hand to other teams that could leapfrog them with Cleveland to take Shedeur. I think they just probably view there's a value drop-off. If Will Campbell was maybe a solidified tackle in this league and there weren't question marks about his positional fit, he would go to the Giants there at 3. Bang, you'd have him and Andrew Thomas for Russell Wilson protecting their quarterback next year. They got a wide receiver 1. I mean, what if they took Ashton Jeanty 3? That'd be kind of insane. I don't feel like they're going to take Mason Graham. If they're going to go defensive line, they'd rather have Abdul Carter, who could be the best player in this draft. So at number 4, we do see the New England Patriots selecting Will Campbell out of LSU. This is something that I also mocked as well, just because I think the Pats, I mean, I know they got Morgan Moses at their right tackle spot, but you could plug Will Campbell at your left tackle spot. I don't think you have expectations of making the playoffs next year, and I don't think your season relies on Will Campbell being an offensive tackle for you. So, hey, if it doesn't work out by week 5 and you're seeing him not develop there, or you go into year number 2, he could be an elite offensive guard in this league. Either way, you got to protect Drake May, who is now going to have a full season as a starting quarterback. He got about half a season in his rookie year, and you want to give him a chance to throw. I know they need another pass catcher. I'm sure they would love for Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter to fall to them at 4, but they just got to give Drake May some protection and some time to throw next year, and hopefully Will Campbell and Morgan Moses can help him out a little bit there. So at number 5, the Jags take Mason Graham out of Michigan, and I think this also makes a ton of sense. Now, I mean, I would love them going after Ashton Jeanty, or maybe they really like Ted McMillan. I don't think we'll see them take Tyler Warren at 5. I feel like James Gladstone, with his analytical thinking, is not going to value Tyler Warren that much to take him at 5, so that's probably not going to happen. You get Mason Graham to just beef up that defensive line even more. Now you have that front 7 involving Trayvon Walker, Joshua Hines Allen, and Mason Graham. That is filthy. And there's some offensive lines in that AFC South that maybe aren't the best in the world. Now, I just said that the Titans' offensive line isn't terrible, but I'm sure they'd be a little bit scared of Graham, Walker, and Allen on that front. Same with the Texans' depleted offensive line. And who knows how the Colts are going to look next year after losing Ryan Kelly and Will Fries in free agency. So the Jaguars are building up the trenches, and I like that a ton. So at number 6, the Raiders go Ashton Jeanty. Now, I would not be totally shocked if we see an offensive skill position player to the Raiders at 6. I don't think they would go Shedeur Sanders. It does feel like they want to continue to build around Geno Smith after locking him up. I thought maybe they can go Ted McMillan as well. That's something I mocked in my last video. But you had Ashton Jeanty. Like, I was going back and forth between Jeanty and Ted. And you had Ashton Jeanty with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. Now we're cooking there in Vegas. And I think Vegas could be a surprising team. But hey, I feel like every team in that AFC West thinks they can win the division or at least make the playoffs next year. Definitely the Chiefs, obviously. And then the Chargers and Broncos, they made it last year. And they got franchise quarterbacks and improved defenses. Sure, the Raiders are just trying to compete there. And could we see 4 AFC West division teams? I mean, probably see 1 South team. Could probably see 1 East team if it's the Bills and the Texans. Maybe the North. Like, hey, I mean, the Raiders would have to beat out the Broncos, the Bengals, the Steelers. It's not impossible because the Bengals have no defenders and offensive linemen, and the Steelers have no quarterback. So the Jets here at number 7 take Armand Membu. I agree with this as well. I mean, you invested a little bit into Justin Fields. I don't think it'd be worth to take Shedeur Sanders. Maybe in hindsight, you wish that, all right, if we knew Shedeur was going to be here, we would have went with like maybe a more veteran style quarterback. And it's just Tyrod Taylor, but I think you'd be more than happy to protect Justin Fields going forward with Armand Membu. And this Jets offensive line that had so many question marks last year, it's going to look really good in 2025 with Membu, Elijah Vera Tucker, Fashanu, and then Tippmann and Simpson, who can be free agents soon. But hey, at least it gives you some foundation in 2025 going forward. So at number 8, I think Jalen Walker has a ton of variance in his draft position. I just think if Jahdae Barron is there, I would just snag him. I just think he has higher, maybe not as higher upside because Walker can just be elite at his position. But I do think Jahdae Barron could be an elite shutdown corner in this league. And I would take my bet on that over Jalen Walker being an elite linebacker there at number 8. I think because if Walker doesn't go there at 8, I could see him like going to the end of the first round. And I like Jahad Campbell a little bit more than Jalen Walker. And I think if they didn't want to take a corner, I think I'd prefer to go Mike Green at a Marshall instead as a pure edge rusher. So, yep, there's where they have Shedeur Sanders at number 9 to the New Orleans Saints out of Colorado. I could see this in a way that the Saints aren't expected to be good next year. I mean, I'm sure they'd be calling for Shedeur Sanders to start if they're like 2-5, which it's probably going to happen. I mean, that roster isn't good. It's getting older. They brought back Derek Carr. Kellen Moore is the new head coach. Hey, if Derek Carr is going to be your starting quarterback next year, they're going to have a new OC. You can have Shedeur Sanders sit for a year, and then he can be ready for 2026. I don't hate that. But man, that roster is not going to be good in 2026, most likely, unless they end up with a top pick, which I guess can happen in the 2026 draft. You have to hit on multiple picks. But Kamara's getting older. You got to pay Olave. How's Shaheed going to look health-wise going forward? Cam Jordan's getting older. Demario Davis, like Matthew. They signed Justin Reed. Like, all these guys have come and gone. And I just don't think they have the best future right now. But it's better to realize that than just keep trying to be mediocre every single year. Just bottom out, right? All right, a little bit of a shocker here. Since Ashton Jeanty is off the board, we have the Bears going Tyler Warren at number 10 to the Chicago Bears. I mean, not really a position of need, but with Membu off the board, with Membu off the board and Ashton Jeanty, I mean, you can go with Tyler Warren, who, yeah, I would say is going to be better long-term than Cole Kmet. You invested a lot into the interior, as he mentioned, Tooney, Jackson, and Dahlman. I think I just go corner. I know you have Stevenson. I know you have Johnson. I mean, I would look at Malachi Starks because he can play corner or safety. I would probably take a chance on Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson here. But hey, why not also just maybe, I mean, Kelvin Banks doesn't hurt you. Like, are you totally locked in on your tackles long term? I think Darnell Wright, but I think there could be an opening in a year. You're going to have to eventually have to pay some guys. And if Banks has to go to the interior, great. Like, Tooney's not getting any younger. Who knows? Like, maybe there's a reason why Jackson and Dahlman weren't brought back by their recent team. So, yeah, I think the Bears, I don't know. I don't think they should go Tyler Warren, even though in a fantasy world, that's pretty cool. And that offense could be fun. So we have the Niners getting Will Johnson at 11. I mean, they have a lot of needs: offensive line, defensive line, front seven, cornerback. I think I'm surprised Will Johnson, like on a mock standpoint, I disagree with this. I think Barron's going to go ahead of Johnson, but I do like Johnson more as a corner. I'm marrying Hampton at 12. I hate this. I mean, for the Cowboys, who have a need at receiver, a need at edge rusher, a need at offensive line. So having them go with Marion Hampton, I don't really think makes a ton of sense. Like, if it's Ashton Jeanty and he's like the clear RB1, like a franchise difference maker, sure, I'll take Ashton Jeanty at 12. But with I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't think I would end up going with Marion Hampton over Ted McMillan, who's still on the board. That is something I disagree with. And yeah, I mean, if Ted McMillan's off the board, I'd prefer to just take Mike Green, who's on the board here, or even Jahdae Barrett, because is Trayvon Diggs a long-term answer on this team with him getting up there in age and him getting expensive? I think you can use another corner. I would take Barrett for sure over a Marion Hampton, who's good, but this is such a deep running back class. Jahdae Barrett to the Dolphins there at number 13. I mean, I'm all for this as well. I think this team should add some people in the secondary. Malachi Starks, but with Armstead retiring, I think Kelvin Banks could also be in play there. 14, Colts taking Loveland. I feel like this is mocked a ton, where we may look back and was just never going to happen. Or I'm going to use my cross-sport reference and say this is Yves Missi to the Pelicans all over again from the 2024 NBA draft, because I feel like everybody's mocking Loveland. It was originally Warren, but then Warren had the hype to go before the Colts, so it's now Loveland. I just want to kind of see Coast and Loveland play for Harbaugh in LA. Mike Green to the Falcons at 15. I think that's incredible value for them. And then a little bit of a shocker, Matthew Golden to the Cardinals there at 16. Don't really see them getting mocked at receiver. I don't hate it. Like, you have two good pass catchers in Marvin Harrison Jr., who should be better next year, and Trey McBride. I think with Kelvin Banks on the board, I would go Kelvin Banks. I'd want to protect Kyler Murray a little bit more. They can also go defensive line as well. Jahad Campbell to the Bengals at 17. I think that's really good value. I think Campbell should go ahead of Jalen Walker. Maybe if the shoulder injury, is scary to some teams, he does end up going lower. But yeah, especially if they move Trey Hendrickson, this team needs that defense. I know their offensive line isn't great. I think this is a dream scenario for the Seahawks. Kelvin Banks Jr. falls to them. I think he's like probably the last offensive lineman in tier 1. I think it's Banks, Membu, and Will Campbell. I don't think he's as good as Membu and Campbell, but he's right there. And I think he's a lot better than the guys that will go after him, like Booker and Zabel and Connerly and Simmons. And I do think Banks gives you a little bit of versatility of where you can eventually play him, because you got Lucas and Cross, so you could play him on the interior. Nick Worry to the Bucks at number 19. I think it seems like defense is the way to go for them, which makes some sense. And I don't think they would look to get some depth offensive linemen here, and their skill position players are figured out. Ted McMillan to the Broncos at 20. I mean, I love this, but I just don't see this happening. I think Ted's going to go before. So he has Matthew Golden going 16, and then he has Ted going 20. I just don't see that happening. Derek Carmen to the Steelers at 21. I mean, as a Steelers fan, like if Rodgers is there, I like Derek Carmen a lot, and I think that the Steelers need to add somebody on that defensive line, and Cam Hayward isn't getting any younger. You'd have him and Keanu Benson there, which is a very good pairing, and then you'd have Highsmith and Watt outside. I mean, that Steelers front seven's elite, but I think they need another corner. I'm not trusting Corey Trice or Beanie Bishop to be a third-string corner for you next year, after Darius Slay, who's 34, and Joey Porter Jr., who's not very good. I mean, he could still be good, but people think he's a cornerback one, which he's not. I mean, where did we have Malachi Starks go? Or is Malachi Starks still on the board? Did I just say Starks? Starks is still on the board. I mean, I would take Malachi Starks here 100% if I was the Steelers. Yeah, I would even think twice about it. 22, we have the Chargers taking Gray Zabel. Yep, with all the other top offensive linemen on the board. This is interesting just because they signed Mekhi Becton. They drafted Zion Johnson in round 1. Maybe they would eventually play him at center long term. But I think, yeah, I would look at receiver here. And it does suck that Loveland's off the board and Marion Hampton. We have Michael Williams to the Packers at 23. This kind of screams Packers, honestly. Just trying to go traits guy, but I would like to get them Emeka Ibuka. Donovan Jackson to the Vikings at 24. Okay. Yeah, you get Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. Add him to that offensive line with Christian Darrisaw if he could be healthy. That's a good offensive line for Aaron Jones to run through. We had to go offensive tackle, and with I mean, Josh Simmons is still on the board, right? Okay, so Connerly over Simmons 25 to Houston. Whoa! What? Jackson Dart to the Rams at 26? Oh my God. I mean, I'm all for the Rams drafting a quarterback here to think about the future. And I know they like Jimmy G, but Dart at 26? Oh man. I feel like you're right there. Like, you were the team that was closest to beating the Eagles. Now maybe the weather helped you, but you got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. You got Kyron Williams. You hope the offensive line is going to be fine next year. You brought back Stafford. The defense you invested a lot into last year improved. Man, I would go for it. I would take a position that can help you right away, and Jackson Dart doesn't really help you. If Dart is there in round 2, I'm all for it. But I don't even know if they have a round 2 pick. It might be round 3. Sure, if Dart's there, but oh man, I think 26 is kind of rich. Malachi Starks to the Ravens at 27. As a Steelers fan, can we not have that, please? Can we not have that? I mean, that's incredible value. Him or Darius Washington and Kyle Hamilton out there. please. Donovan Ezeracco to the Lions at 28. I think if he's on the board there, starting to like him a little bit more than Shamar and James Pierce. Who Kuiper's a little bit lower on. Shamar Stewart to the Commanders at 29. I think it should be a defensive pick, unless like a Marion Hampton falls to them at 29, or somehow Ted McMillan, just because like Debo and Terry's like a surprising 29 years old. Maxwell Harrison to the Bills at 30. I like that value. I think Azariah Thomas could be like the next best corner, or Savon Ravel. Josh Simmons to the Chiefs at 31. I mean, that's an incredible upside pick for them. He's somebody that if he didn't have the injury was probably going to be a top 16 pick, maybe a top 10 pick, but the injury is going to knock him down. And then James Pierce, somebody with very high upside to the Eagles at 32. Are you surprised? Oh my God, oh my God, to the Browns at 33. What? I mean, with Jackson Dart off the board, oh my God. I mean, he's what, 26 this year? Oh man, I mean, he could step in right away, can make some plays, but man, that offensive line is going to be rough for him. And is he going to get scared behind that line? I think I'd rather just take Jalen Milroe in the third, but maybe he won't even be there. Wow, that's okay. Oh my God, it's Jalen Milroe to the Giants at 34. All right, Kuiper thinks quarterbacks are going to go. Why do I feel like this is just going to be 2022 all over again with like Malik Willis and Matt Corral and some of those guys? Oladeo, the outside linebacker from UCLA to the Titans at 35. I mean, they kind of just need everything. But with, Mecca Buka on the board, I would think about that, or even Luther Burden. So the Jags don't take Tet earlier. They get Mason Graham and they get a Mecca Buka at 36. Kind of love that for them. Schwestwinger from the Bruins, they're at 37 to the Raiders. Kind of love that. I feel like he could be a Raider. Oh my God, Luther Burden just fallen to the Pats at 38. I think it's incredible value. Walter Nolan to the Bears at 39. Also incredible value. Now they're just hitting positions of need in this draft. I mean, with Nolan, I don't know about Tyler Warren there at 10. Azariah Thomas to the Saints at 40. Makes looking Shador, I think, fine, because you passed on Janae Barron. So I like that for them. Trayvon Henderson. Okay. Yeah, like that's probably the reason why you don't take Genty at 10 if you can get Trayvon Henderson. Trayvon Henderson at 41. Elijah Arroyo. Whoa, the tight end prospect to the Jets at 42. Okay. Kenneth Grant sliding all the way at 43 to the Niners. Trey Amos, I think good value for the Cowboys there at 44. I mean, if they could walk away with Ted at 12 and Trey Amos, I would love that. I just don't know if I love a Marion at 12. Jonas Savanaia, the guard from Arizona, the Colts, probably a position they could look to go for, mentioning before losing Fries and Ryan Kelly. Benjamin Morrison, I think, is good value for the Falcons. I mean, Benjamin Morrison and Jahad Campbell in the same draft might be cooking there in Atlanta. We got Tyler Booker to the Cardinals at 47 and Matthew Golden. I'm glad they got a guard. I think Booker's fine there, but like, would you rather just get Grant or Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon earlier? Darius Alexander to the Dolphins there at 48. JT Tui Moluau, the defensive end from Ohio State. I don't want to butcher his name. I definitely did. Savon Revel to the Seahawks at 50. Incredible value. Oh my God, that is a home run pickup. Keyshawn Judkins to the Broncos there at 51. So the Broncos got Ted McMillan and Keyshawn Judkins in this draft. That is a fun pairing with skill position players. Jaden Higgins, I think good value. This is from the DK Metcalf pick. I like Higgins to go in the second round for sure. Nick Scorton going to the Bucs at 53, addressing a need. Jack Bech to the Packers at 54. So that's the receiver. Just, I think another guy that could be like a wide receiver 2, 3 for them. Mason Taylor. I know the Chargers need a tight end, but that feels like a little bit of a reach. Tyreek Williams to the Bills at 56. Isaiah Bond. I'm not the biggest Isaiah Bond guy, going to the Panthers at 57, but I'm cool with them getting weapons for Bryce Young, Jalen Noel. So we do have a run on receivers to the Texans at 58. David Walker, outside linebacker from Central Arkansas. Okay, highest I've seen him mock to the Ravens at 59. Anthony Belton, offensive lineman from NC State. Losing Zeitler makes sense. Darian Porter, I think, is great value to the Commanders, and with Marshawn Lattimore getting older, I think that makes sense. Xavier Watts, great value to the Bills at 62. Caleb Johnson, oh, that's fun. That's fun. I'm a Isaiah Pacheco dynasty owner, but I would love Caleb Johnson in Kansas City. And then Kevin Winston, I think, is really good value with the Eagles losing some secondary guys here and keep them in the state of Pennsylvania. So that is me reacting to Mel Kiper's 2-round mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Definitely some surprising picks there with Jackson Dart there at 26 to the Rams, Tyler Shaw to the Browns at 33, and then Milroe to the Giants at 34. So that's gonna be for me. Hope you guys did enjoy. I'll leave the link to this article in the description below if you want to take a look at it yourselves. Hit that thumbs up if you did enjoy. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.